Eve. He destroyed the image of man. It doesn't matter how far out Satan goes. As long as you always remember what we call in law the basic premise, you'll never get lost in any prophetic message. Satan's job is to destroy the image of man because God created man in his own image, and Satan doesn't want to see anything that reminds him of God down here in the beast system, twisted backward, utopia. So this is why people will damage themselves. This is why people tattoo their faces now and do all the stuff that they do. They call it fashion and style, but they are being prompted from an age-old rebellious seed to desecrate the temple, because this is where the Holy Spirit comes to. This is what he loves. This is God's house. So Satan will put Rubik's cubes on the house and metal spikes in the house. Just the way vandals destroy property, he will destroy God's property and do his best to make sure that the heart inside the property becomes so rebellious and so cold that it can no longer be accepted into God's reward, which is eternal sonship with the Father in heaven.
Out of all the tattoos I have, there is one that I get the most comments and compliments on, and the results will shock you. Do you remember those online spam ads? Anyways, the funny part about it is that it's not even a black ink tattoo, and it's not even my biggest tattoo. It is this one right here. I get a lot of questions about it, like, is it scarification? Is it laser tattoo? Well, nope, it's just white ink. The tattoo is completely hand-poked by my friend Melina, and it took probably around 2 or 3 passes over the duration of a year in order to achieve this look. In all honesty, it's probably the closest I'll ever get to a face tattoo in my entire lifetime, and I adore it so much.
It looks nice though.
It is starting to become a viral trend for girls to get their boyfriend's faces tattooed on their own face. More and more every single day, I'm starting to see pictures like this surface of girls getting their boyfriend's face tattooed on their own faces. Like, look, this tattoo is actually not bad. You all probably know who this is right here, but it's actually starting to become a trend. Here's another example of what I'm talking about, and honestly, this one right here looks really good. Like, out of all the ones I've seen on social media in the past few days, this one definitely looks the best, but I still feel like this is definitely not the smartest idea, and I just hope that all of them don't regret this in the future. Here we go with another example. Like, look, this is becoming a normal thing. Like, I am not joking. Some people on social media feel like this is not the smartest idea, and other people think it's a great idea. In my opinion, I don't think I would ever do this in my entire life, but to each their own. Some of them are surprisingly really good, and some of them are just really, really bad. As you can see, this one right here. This one was actually a neck tattoo, not a face tattoo, but still of her boyfriend. But I'm really curious to know your thoughts about all this, and do you think this is actually just going to continue to be a normal thing? And would you ever get a tattoo like this? Me personally, no way.
I've already told you this, that people will castrate themselves on camera and people will tune in and watch. And the doctor is going to be giving a play-by-play commentary as people are watching. I told you that I saw that in a TED Talk in a dream that God gave me. People will do anything for attention in this country. They will cut their ear off in live stream. They will cut a finger off in live stream. They will carve themselves up in live stream. They will tattoo their faces in big color block, blue here, yellow on the left cheek, purple on the right cheek, pink in the middle here, and then white for contrast at the chin area. And then the neck will be a fetching green. And they will walk around like that. The Lord called it shock value. madness, Satan will enter the vessel. And I've always said to you who claim that this is a land of Christianity and righteous people, Satan will show you what he can do. Satan will show you what's on his mind, and then he will play it out through people. That is what happens to nations. That wrath, which means God's greatest fury, is abiding on. Sometimes the outplay of wrath is simply that God will leave you. Do you know what it is when God leaves you?
Am I the only one who's left with more questions than answers after watching this video? How does he shave his head through these horns? Like, do they just screw on and off? I'm very puzzled. When I look at his mouth, he doesn't seem like he can actually close his mouth properly. So it makes me think that these fangs, I guess you would call them, maybe just come on and off, and he uses that as jewelry type thing, so that like, it's almost called a show. Like, is that how this works? I mean, what happened to his ear holes? And obviously, how does he hear us? And I mean, those facial implants, they just stick out so much. Again, like, the facial implants kind of starting to be more and more common now, but still, it's just mind-blowing. And this is just taking it to that next level. Are we all just left with questions and no answers?
I have, well, like 5 subdermal implants in my face. They're all done by Steve Hayworth, as well as my sclera tattooing, and I have tongue and gum staining here, and then my gums are also injected black. I have subdermal implants on my arms and spiders on my ribs. Yeah, sure, like, they're a little hard to see depending on the light, and both of those.
People seeing us together, they don't realize we are tattooed. They think we have body paint on, or we're going to a show, or we're dressed up for Halloween. We're not. This is how we look, we're tattooed. And it takes them literally a little bit of time to realize, like, wait a second, they're not wearing makeup. They are tattooed this way. They look like every day and function as a good, happy couple and are just out enjoying dinner.
Which just goes to show that it's not because God does not care. This is the consequence of sin for those who are already getting ready to type in the comment section. But why would a loving God allow this to happen? A loving God allows things to happen to a hateful population that continues to depart and flee from him. There's such a thing called critical mass. There's such a thing called free will. When sin reaches critical mass, free will reign and rule and overpower. And that is when mercy stops being like a shower and begins to come like one little dropper. And you just need to pray like no man's business that God will continue drops on you and your family and your children.
I wouldn't get my eyeballs tattooed again for a couple reasons. One, the sun hurts. My pupils don't dilate the way they normally would because I don't have any reflection of light in my eyes. And there's a lot of questions about my eyes.
You think you can guess what happened to this patient's eye? I personally had no idea this was a real thing. This is Canadian model Kat Gallagher, who in 2017 decided to get a scleral tattoo. I didn't even know this existed, but this is where a tattoo artist will permanently color the sclera of your eyes to a different color than white. In her case, however, the procedure performed by her boyfriend at the time went horribly wrong. At first, she thought the swelling was a normal part of the recovery process, until she started crying purple tears. She was eventually seen by a doctor and was given steroids and antibiotics, but her swelling continued to get worse. The ink eventually started clumping around her cornea and resulted in permanent vision loss. Her boyfriend denied any responsibility for it, saying that he's done 20 of them with only 2 known complications and that she just didn't care. Kat is now thinking of having the eye removed altogether because of the complications. I never thought I'd have to say this. Guys, please don't tattoo your eyes.
The tattoos are an addiction. They're allowed to, but for me, I don't think it is. I think it's more of a trying to understand your own body, loving the artwork because it's artwork, and trying to involve personality at the same time. So you grow with that, and you start thinking about the different parts of your body and the different sessions and what you can do more. And that's how it kind of evolved and grew with me.
In that prophecy, Dry Rivers, Dry Wombs, I said I saw that people, for shock value, the things that they did on live streams because they wanted to have channels with millions of viewers. And I said that social media will become like a slaughterhouse. People cut off a finger, cut off a body part on live streams for shock and awe value. I saw that people changed the colors of the whites of their eyes. They changed it to red, to yellow, to full black, all for shock value. I said I saw that people filed their teeth into points. They had something looking like metal spikes. So it's not the grill that the rappers use now where they put silver or platinum in their mouth and they can easily take it off. No, people filed, they took off all their teeth, and they had dental implants put in that looked like metal fangs. And then they would wait at the bus stop and smile at people to shock people to their core. They will have live surgeries, trans surgeries on stage. I shared that the Lord showed me a vision of a man having that with only local anesthetic. And the reason he gave for dismembering himself like that, he said he was sick of gender norms in society, and he didn't want to be a man or a woman. He was tired of being not misgendered, but gendered. And so he cuts off his private parts on a live stream. And then afterwards, obviously, when the pain overtook him, the doctor became the star of the moment, and he was taking questions from the audience. These are the things that are coming. The Lord showed me that in the future, people tattoo their whole face. I saw a person who had tattooed their face like a clown children's block. Their face was like a Rubik's Cube. Red here, yellow here, green here, purple here, black here, white here. Their entire facial features were blocked off into color blocks, and people walked around like that. This is what is ahead, as I have seen it from the Lord. So, those are just some of the things that came to my mind to share. Whatever is hateful to God, whatever evil that a person has in their hearts, whatever an evil heart and mind, a darkened heart and a mind, a reprobate mind can desire, it will come out. It was being done, and it was not being done privately in the homes. It spilled out into the streets. It seems like nothing was illegal. In fact, from what I saw in the future, it seemed like the word illegal was an old word for old people who no longer existed, an old and outdated word for people who no longer matter, people who no longer had any power to affect anything in a meaningful way. So voices will be silenced in America. You that wants to protest, you will just be protesting in a very small mouse voice in your heart. because this is going to go ahead with legal backing. The beast system is a perverted system. It is a reprobate world where every evil will be exalted and every good will be made illegal. That's from one of the other prophecies where God said all the things that belong to him will be outlawed and all the things that belong to Satan will be promoted, and you'll even get incentivized on doing them. You'll get discounts on getting your arm cut off and getting a new robot arm and gouging out one eye so you can have the red Terminator eye. The country was on fire with sin, and I was moaning in pain to see it and how nothing was being done about it. And the Lord said to me in that dream that he will let America destroy herself. A nation of reprobates will arise who do not know the Lord or keep his commands. People who do not love his truth or care about him and his ways. Now give this some thought. How does a nation arise that does not care about God's truth or care about him and his ways? I'm not even going to deal with the people who are not Christians. Why do so many Christians defend sin instead of defending what the Bible says? Why is it that when a Christian like myself, sent by God to lay out a standard, to call us back to the plumb line, to call us back to the basics of Christianity, why is there so much pushback? Why do people say that the